Hey everyone. All right, looks like that's working. Tip this up a bit. Oh, all right. We got some people here. Lovely. It's lovely to see you all. Um, I have to say, today is it's definitely the most beautiful day of the year. Um, this might be the prettiest day in like a full 365-day cycle. I am shocked at how gorgeous it is today. So we'll go. What's the plan? I think the plan is today we're going to go to the woods. We'll check the bucket. Was anybody here on the Wednesday? Was it a Wednesday? No, it was a Saturday. Last Saturday's maple tapping thing where I showed people how to put the bucket in the tree. You weren't. Okay, well, great news, Diane, is we're going to do it again today. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with we'll check the bucket from last time just because I'm interested and also I want to take a woodsy walk. And then we'll go do it on another tree, and we're going to end down by the water because it is ridiculously pretty today. So we'll do that. It'll be about a half an hour, probably longer because I don't think I've ever brought a tour in on time yet, which is the beauty of digital that you can just leave. And yeah, it'll be great. So with that, we are on. It is time. I'm happy everybody's here. Hello, Aaron and Jeff. Good to see you again. Hi, Diane. Good to see you. Who else do we have? We've got Marta. Hello, Marta. I guess we got six people for now. So hello, everyone. Today we're going to walk through a very pretty Nova Scotian wood, part of the Acadian forest biome. So very close to the ocean, literally about 100 yards that way, maybe less, is the ocean. We're going to finish the tour down by the ocean because it's really pretty today. If anybody was with us on Saturday when we did our other tour, the last time we did this, um, it was there was no snow at all. It was, brown, some green from the evergreens, but all in all, it was not like this. So, it's just gorgeous, and we'll go take a walk through the woods, shall we? I'm gonna turn this camera around and have a look. Hello, Chelsea. Hello, Mariala. Oh, other way. Oh, also, I got feedback that my camera work is jerky, and that is very true. Hello, Kayla. Woonsocket, cool. Rhode Island, nice. Um, and my camera work is jerky. It's terrible. I'm trying to get better. I've slowed down the actual settings on the uh, what you call it gimbal here, so we'll see how that goes. So this you can see, this is just like ridiculous. We got a beautiful birch here, right? We got okay. So also, I think some of you were with me on the other day. I referred to what I meant to say was an aspen, and what I said was an alder. And alders and aspens are really different trees. Alders are like small scrubby things. Oh, thanks, Kayla. And then aspens look like skinny birch, and they're all in the poplar family. Apparently, you can get syrup out of them, and yeah, that's just related to the last tour. So one of the things I love about this time of year is like these branches that are all hanging down are never this low, right? Like these are well above heads. Like this is a trail I cut, and I would cut things that would catch you in your eye, but now these are like so laden with snow that they hang down. So what we're going to do first, we're going to go check last week's bucket, and we're going to talk about that. The weather. Oh, and because the snow's been falling a little bit, we can see this. I'll try to get a nice little thing. Those are not people footprints. That's rabbit, snowshoe hare to be exact. So the woods here are full of them, but this year we haven't been so lucky to get a lot of paw prints in the snow because there hasn't been much snow. But yeah, they do look like the ears of a hare, hey? We can see our little buddy came this way. Gets a little bit confused. Oh wow, it took the path. Where'd it go? It looks like a little bit of crossover here. Oh, you can see it jumped over and into the woods along there. But if we follow this, see now it's changed direction. It's coming out of the wood. And then morning NC. And then we keep going. Look, it just takes the path. This is great. Oh, as much as I'm going to be really happy to have people walking this path sometime soon, seeing this in the snow is bringing me such joy. Now, this is something else. I just dumped snow all over myself. So this trail, hold on, guys. I've just totally covered my monitor in snow. There we go. This might be, I want to say maybe otter, but it's too big or too small to be otter. Kayla, it's possible it was trying to confuse a predator. It's also possible it was just out for a cruise, getting some food. There's a ton of them as well, so it's possible they just ran into each other, just coming to or going home from work, Okay, and this is where we lose the rabbit trail. And so we'll start looking at human height again. But look at this. Like, I wish there was a way to show you how, like, it flattens, right? So it's really hard to do it justice here. But my God, these are the days you are so happy to live out here. Yeah, it is gorgeous, isn't it? Well, keeping looking down for trails. There's often it's funny, you can get confused by the marks in the snow because sometimes they just, snow falls out of the trees and leaves things that look like marks. So you got to look for repeating patterns in a kind of certain type of depression. Oh my God. So last week we put a spile into a tree, hung the bucket off it, put the lid onto it. And the next day I came and checked it and it was pretty full. There was probably about I don't know how to do this for non-metric. I would say about a cup, like 250 milliliters, which I think a cup is like, I don't know. I have no idea for American metric. But anyway, the sap is flowing. Very soon we're going to do, hopefully this week. Yesterday we got pretty cold, below zero all day, and below zero all day is no good for collecting sap. You need I'll talk in less metric. You want below freezing at night and above freezing during the day. And the reason you want that is because basically the sap moves up and down according to those temperatures. So at night, as the sap is below, or as the temperature gets below zero, the sap retreats into the roots of the tree where it doesn't freeze and where, it won't be full of ice in the morning. And then as the temperature rises, especially as the sun hits, which, can we see that? As the sun hits the tree, the sap rises with the barometric pressure. There it is. Take a postcard. I don't know if that's a good postcard or not. Anyway, yeah, and the reason the sap comes up and down, the reason the sap exists is to turn sunshine and carbon dioxide, because trees are autotrophs, which means they make their own food, and they turn sunshine and carbon dioxide into carbohydrates, which they then turn into sugars, which they then used to make leaves and buds and fruit. The fruit of a uh, maple tree is the maple keys, and the maple keys are, I mean, fruit is any exterior seed-bearing body, basically. And so in this case, it's a maple key, which you might also know as a whirligig, or there's a couple of other names. Let's see how we see that. Okay, so here, I don't think there's much in here, but we'll check it. This is why you put a lid onto it, because otherwise it gets full of snow and stuff. But no, nothing. Yesterday was below freezing, so there's not any. There's not anything. There's like a little bit of ice. I'll be honest. I came out the day after we did the Wednesday tour, and no, 2 days after, and ice had frozen on top, which the ice water freezes faster than the sugars in the liquid, and so before maple spiles, before Europeans, the way people used to collect it was they'd cut a tree, they'd cut a slit in the bark, usually lower down, but for this, I'll show you up here, but it would be closer to the ground. They'd cut a slit, the myth, I guess, or the story behind how it started was that someone was angry and threw an axe, a tomahawk at a tree, and it stuck in at the right time of year, and they noticed it started to bleed. But what the people would do is they'd cut a slit in, they'd put like a shim, basically, a wooden shim in, the sap would run down the shim, and underneath it they'd put a little, a bark bowl, basically, and that would collect the syrup. Now, they weren't big on, obviously metal pots, and they weren't using a lot of ceramic pots, so they didn't boil the syrup down. Instead, what they did, or they did have ceramic pots, but they wouldn't have handled this fire. What they did was they let it freeze on top. They'd pull the ice off, and what was left was a concentrated sugar liquid. So you do that a few days, and it kind of concentrates, because at night the temperature is going below zero, below freezing, and during the day it's above freezing. So if you get there early, you can remove the frozen part, and what you're left with is a concentrated, very sweet syrup, or not syrup, but sap, kind of not halfway there, but noticeably sweeter. We're going to go into the woods. I marked a tree. Oh, I marked a tree close by, so we're going to look. Thank you for that explanation. Oh, thank you, Diane. That's why we're here, right? So we'll go find a tree, and I'll show you how to tap. 40-to-1 concentration of sap to syrup. That's how much you need to reduce it. You need to reduce it by about 40 times. So that's why the boils take all day, and they typically do it outside. I've done it on my stovetop, and I'm pretty sure the utility bill isn't worth the syrup. But if you do it outside, I mean, you can see I've got a lot of wood and a lot of. I did too, and see it. You need to definitely turn your stove hood on, but it's not a good idea. But I've got a lot of wood out here, so I can have outside burns, and I got a lot of land to do it on. So I'll show you. I marked the trees with a little red tape, and this one's kind of deeper in. I just think it's really pretty, so I want to take us on this, like, some winter wonderland nonsense, Okay, so what I didn't plan for was how I'm going to put the camera down. But, so there's the tree. Thanks, Eliza. This makes me feel like this is like some real Disney princess stuff, It's just ridiculous. So, let's see. I'll put my bucket here, and I will explain what pieces you need as you go. I was not thinking when I picked this spot. Let's see. Old school tapping. Oh, you know it. Yeah, to NC's point. There's when you see proper, like now, modern maple tapping operations, it is, like almost industrial, basically. How's that? That seems okay. Oh, dang it. I gotta turn it around, right? Or I can't see what's happening. Yeah, a modern maple tapping operation has like vacuum tubes and it's all connected and it goes to a central hub. And I mean, it's incredibly useful if what you're trying to do is mass collect sap. I've seen a tubing system that was, yeah, exactly. And so that's like, that's if you're really trying to produce. I'm like, you know, how's that? Hey everyone. I'm like one person on like 13 acres and I don't have that many trees, so it doesn't really make sense for me to invest in all that stuff. And also, honestly, like this isn't a sugar bush. Like this, the space between trees here is pretty great. So it wouldn't make sense for me to run hoses. It makes a lot more sense for me to do it kind of one by one. And also, you know, I'm not averse to being forced to take a walk in the woods every day. You know, it's all right. But with that said, hello, Sherry F, Grace H, good to see you. We're going to show you how to tap a tree. You don't need much to do it. What I have with me is a cordless drill. Is this too far away or can you guys see this? Friend on a dairy farm still does it with buckets. It's amazing. Okay, so cordless drill. You'll use that maybe twice. We have, oh, the lid for our bucket, which you can also use as your little shelf. I have a mallet, a rubber mallet, and we're going to use that once we drill our hole to put this spile into the tree. So this back part here goes into the tree. The bucket hangs off the hook. This is the little sloop for the syrup to go down. The bucket slides into this little hole in the top. And see, the Canadian Tire buckets are my favorite thing. You can buy, and then here's the mallet. I broke the handle because I was trying to do some stupid things with it. You can get galvanized steel buckets that are gorgeous, cost $20 a piece. You can get plastic ones that are kind of opaque and designed for this. They match this color. They're about $8. Or you can go to your local hardware store. Make sure you get food grade plastic, but food grade plastic buckets, drill a hole in the side, and those cost about $3.50 Canadian. So it really depends on what you're looking to do. I have some of the galvanized ones when Annie and I do our push, like I think in the next couple of days, we're going to hang all the buckets, the rest. This is going to be the last one where I show you me tapping a tree. After this, we're going to collect the buckets. We'll talk about the same stuff, but now's the time. I can't be doing this. So I've already sacrificed a couple of days of production in order to show this. So we're going to get into full collection soon, but you'll see on the next tour if you come different kinds of buckets hanging around just because that's what we're doing. So anyhow, what we're going to do. So I've got my spile, I've got my drill, I've got my little rubber mallet. Oh, I have my gloves. It's just good to have. I have a drill bit. So this little piece of wood, I'll show you. I have two drill bits. I have one which is a 5/16, and the 5/16 is the one you're going to use to drill the actual hole. And then I've got another which is slightly larger than 5/16. My guess is it's, I don't know, maybe ½ inch or a little bit less. Maybe, what's that, would be 3/8. And it's just going to drill the hole in the side of the bucket. You can use the 5/16 to drill the hole in the side of the bucket. I just prefer to keep the one that's drilling the hole in the tree specific to the tree, so I'm not introducing plastic shards and stuff to it. But that's needlessly, uh, cautious. I think you could probably just be careful and pull the plastic off it. So I'm just going to up top here. Oh, thank you, Tracy. Thank you very much for the tip. Virginia was back. Hello. Brisbane. Amazing. So under this kind of reinforced lip, that's where I'm going to put the little hole. I'm gonna I'm gonna do it so the Canadian Tire is facing out because it's classic Canadiana. You're not gonna get a more ridiculous little bit of Canadiana from your maple syrup tapping. And then there we go. So we've now got a small hole. You can see it there. And then we're gonna So then we're gonna take the 5/16 drill bit. Now I've got it marked with a piece of duct tape. And the reason I have it marked with the piece of duct tape, you can see. Ah, there we go. Is that it's the same depth. Thank you, NC, as this spile, right? So it's the same width, and now I've got it marked to the same depth. You don't need to go any deeper than your spile. You know, you are trying not to make a really deep hole. You're trying to be as, non-invasive to the tree as you can. You're drilling a hole in a tree and collecting its sap. You're essentially doing the tree equivalent of taking a blood donation. So over the the season of collecting, a good sugar maple will get you anywhere between 35. I'm going to take this off, between 35 and 50 liters of syrup, which amounts to about 7% of the tree's total syrup contents. I'm just going to tip this down a hair. See if that makes it a little better. Yeah, which is about 12%, 7% of the tree's total sap content. So it's like giving blood. When you tap a tree, like this will be the first year that I've tapped this tree. Had I tapped this tree last year, and let's say this is where the hole was, what I would be doing is I'd be moving over and up or down so that you don't have it all concentrated into a small bit. You want it in a big area, right? Like you want to move that around. Otherwise, you weaken this small area, and it's really hard for the tree to recover because it's just, it's like you make a hole after a hole after a hole after a hole. But if it's large, then it's easier for it to heal out. The other thing is, because it's a really small hole, it's like us getting a shaving cut or a really small hole. Don't put anything in it when you're done. Just pull the tap out, the tree will heal itself. It's a lot different than if you cut off a branch or whatever. The trees, just like our bodies, are pretty decent at healing out small things without too much assistance. The trees will do that as well. So what I'm going to do is I've got my 5/16 bit in here. I'm going to, rather than going straight in, a slight upward angle on the drill. I want to hit the south-facing side, so the sun comes all day, warms this side of the tree. The sap responds to the sun. I don't know if you know this, but trees, maple trees anyway, I don't know if this is true of all trees, have photoreceptors, so they can read the seasons. They can read the daylight changes. They can read the sunlight, and they respond to it. I'm just going to come in and see what this... Oh, thanks, Tracy. Yeah, so I'm going to drill a little hole now, just again up to the duct tape. And I mean, you can do it however high. You want to keep it up a little bit because, well, there's animals. Everybody loves maple sap. And so if you have a bucket of it, squirrels can get into it, any kind of ground things. I mean, you saw how much stuff was on top of the lid of that other bucket. Keep it up off the ground. It's less likely to get full of stuff and let critters into it. So I'm going to drill my little hole facing up. There we go. So we've got our nice little hole. I'll bring this. I'll do a little close-up view of this if you want. Chandra, hey go Bali Guide T. Hello. Okay, so now if I'm going to turn this around. And we go, boop, 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 boop. So, I've lost it. Here it is. So that's what the hole looks like in the tree. Just a small little one, I am losing control of this. There we go. So a small little hole in the tree. And just enough to get our little spile in. So then we're going to take our little spile. Easy to lose sight of where the hole is. It is. So you got to kind of pay attention to what you're doing. So we're now going to take our little spile. Again, this is the spile. And we're going to put it into the hole. There's a helicopter overhead. Oh, wow, it's really low. Huh, never seen that before. Okay, so we've got this in the hole. You see it's on a downward angle. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put this camera down for a sec. This does not respond fast enough to movements. I would have showed you the helicopter. You don't see a lot of them around here. I'm wondering what's going on. How's that? How's that? Is that any better? That's starting to fall? No, it's good. Okay, so now I have this little block of wood basically just connects to the flat part on the spile. You saw that little spout. You don't want to hammer onto the spout because it's just plastic. It'll snap. Again, these spiles, I think they're like $1.25 a piece. You can get nice stainless steel ones, but and you know what? Honestly, stainless steel, obviously better than plastic. But these, if you're careful with them, will last a lifetime. They're easy to clean. They're all food grade. And they're just a lot cheaper. I prefer the stainless ones, if I'm being really honest. But, well, these were in my budget this time, honestly. So then you hammer this in, and you just get the spile up to it's like into the tree, so it's like, you know, it's in there, it's sturdy. And then you take your bucket that you have drilled your hole in previously. Again, so much cheaper than proper maple buckets, but not as cool. The nice thing is when you get a bucket that's kind of opaque like this, it's hard to see, but when the sun hits, it's a little see-through, which is nice because when the sun's shining on it from a distance, you can see if there's liquid in it or not, which is obviously what we want. So you hang the bucket on the spile, and then you take this out of the way. And then you take your lid, super important. These lids are probably the most expensive part. This lid was $4. It's got a little slide in the back. I've tried to make my own with like pieces of stuff and like baling twine and stuff like that. I would say that this is better. I had a hard time last year with the ones that I kind of handcrafted because the wind would take them and the baling twine or the baling wire wasn't strong enough and it would wind up flipping everywhere. And like we saw at the beginning, a good snowfall can just fill your bucket with snow and then you're boiling it off. Like there's no reason not to boil it off, but you've just added hours to your day, right? To your boil. So the more stuff you can keep out of it, the better. There we go. So there you go. And you got your spile on a slight downward angle. You got your lid covering it up. It's Canadian as all get out. Yeah. Do any animals try to get into the buckets? Oh, David, yes, absolutely they do. Squirrels love it. Chipmunks love it. This is why you keep it off the ground so smaller animals can't really get into it. But there's all sorts of little buddies that want to enjoy the maple sap, and I don't blame them. It's delicious. So yeah, so there's that. When you're boiling it down, we'll get into the maple boil at some point more. I'm going to turn this around now because you don't want to look at me. Instead, we can look at these beautiful woods. Oh my God, it's already been a half an hour. Yeah, so when you're boiling it down, you will boil it for a long time. It's 40-1. Sap comes out at about 2.5. Sap from a sugar maple. Most of my trees aren't even sugar maples. They're red maples. Just about every maple tree has sap you can boil down. Sugar, red, and black maples are all, people have tried, and you know what, it's actually pretty tasty. It's just, It's not something I would pay $5 for 250 milliliters for. But yeah, so you start like a good sugar maple by directly from sugar bus. Amazing, Diane. Yeah, you must have a ton of it around there. Starts at 2.5% sugar, and once it's cooked down, it gets to be about 66 to 67% sugar. That's sap. Um, and then, yeah, while you're cooking it down, one of the things that will accumulate in it is uh, what they call sugar sand. It's like a grit. And it, yeah, Chandra, I'm glad you do. The sugar sand is calcium something or other. It's not bad for you. I was really looking it up, like when I cooked it down last year and was coming up with all this grit. I was like, it's got to be useful for something, but I think it's just kind of like deposits. It's not good for much. Aaron, I also love the dark maple. The gold is more popular, which I don't really understand. I guess I get it because it's kind of a lighter flavor, but like, I don't know. I love molasses as well. I like the deep, dark sugars with the heavy, heavy tape. Oh, thank you, Diane. Great syrup producers in Ontario. I gave up on you since it's all pulled. I believe though, and see, I might be wrong, but I thought the maple syrup cartel was national. Love to imported, brought it. David, are you? Oh yeah, it is. Oh, thanks, guys. Thanks for the tips, David. If you're in the States, you have a great industry there too. I mean, oh, okay. I think what is it? It's Quebec makes 70% of the world's maple syrup. Oh, much harder to get there, David. Yeah, 70% of the world's maple syrup and 90% of Canada's maple syrup, which lets you know kind of, what a heavyweight Quebec is in the maple syrup world and whatever. They have tons of sugar bushes and really leaned into it. A huge heist. Yeah, the maple syrup heist is an amazing story. Um, I could kind of get into it. They basically, I believe it was a man and his brother and his son. And Tracy, the syrup becomes lighter dark because different times of the year, different boiling downs, like you get different qualities. Yeah, somebody else. We'll get a summary of that. Look up maple syrup heist, and it's a great story. I'll get him more into like the technical things of syrup. My headphones are about to die. I'm going to try this. You know what? I'm going to put the headphones in their little charger while I walk down, and then I'll say goodbye with the headphones on. But what are we talking about? Oh yeah. So, pardon me. This is going to go weird for a minute. All right. Can you hear? Oh yeah, you can hear me. So, basically, maple syrup changes over the course of its collection time. So, as the sugars are distributed around the tree, it begins to use those sugars to make, buds and, get ready to make leaves and stuff. And so then you start getting a different quality of sap, which then makes a different kind of syrup. The end stuff, but like when you've collected syrup all season and it's done. Yeah, well now it's all A and C. I kind of preferred the confusing grading method because now it's like yeah, I don't know. I don't approve of the new methods of grading maple syrup. It's a very Canadian thing to have a stance on. I still like the dark stuff, the C grade and the can. That's my favorite, which doesn't exist anymore. Oh, thanks, David. Yeah, wait till just stick around for like 3 more minutes, and we're gonna end the tour with like what I think is mind-blowing scenery. Oh yeah, so the last syrup or the last sap of the season, once it's started to get really the tree is using it, you don't want to take it anymore. It's not moving up and down so much anymore because the
The temperatures are up at night, so it's not freezing at night, so it's not flowing the same. People say that sap gets buddy, and you can really taste it. Like, you can taste sap at the end of the year. It's not quite so pleasing. It's not quite so sweet. When you cook it down, they can still cook it down, but it's just not the same. But that's what they used to, like the old tree tappers would make a maple booze out of it. Basically, they'd ferment it and then still it down. And the last boil of the season was essentially a big old piss up. People just get hammered on this maple ale. And it was said that people, like, even people who were well accustomed to drink, couldn't really handle 1 or 2 glasses of it without being finished. Okay, so we're gonna go through here, and yeah, look at this. It's just maple sugar, butter, etc., made from the lower grade sap. You know what? I don't know. I would assume yes. I mean, you get the highest price for the highest grade, so it doesn't make sense to use the high grade stuff for things that are not, like that gold color is what's going to stand out in that bottle. The darker color would make a lot of sense to me to put it into butters and whatever. So I imagine that's actually where it came from, is people trying to figure out what do we do with the less pretty things, Oh, here's a few more rabbit tracks. Oh, and again, I've got to be careful. They're not rabbits. They're snowshoe hares. They get very upset when you call them rabbits. And they're kind of disappearing. You can kind of see. But here we've had some snow fall off a tree, and it's kind of obscured it. So there we go. Oh, thanks for following. So let's see. Yeah, look at this, like, winter wonderland nonsense, oh, look at this. Here's a great one. Here's a great line of rabbit tracks. Also, I'm a giant nerd about animal tracks. So I'm sorry if this is less interesting to you than it is to me, but, well, it's my tour. What are you going to do? Thanks, Cincy. So you can see them going off into the wood there, and, being rabbits in the wild. It's good for them. And then we go, see it over here that way. So these ones, they just crossed over. So we're going to keep going. Okay, another beauty thing. I guess at this point I should, you know what? We know how this platform works. It works on what they call tips. Platform takes 40%. Yeah, so if you have it and you like this and you can, buy me a cup of coffee, that would be great. Mariela, I will do that. But I got to do that soon because the snow's leaving. Tomorrow it's going to be super rainy. Yeah, but I don't know that I'll have the time. I'll try my best. We might get one more snowfall. It's got to stay down for a couple of days so the animals can actually move through it, I will do this tour again. Absolutely, Janine. I might not do, so what I did this year, or today, was actually tapped a tree. But I think what I'll do coming up, because I can't wait to tap any more trees, I will have all of the trees tapped, and we'll just collect the sap, and you'll learn the same things. You'll just have more of a walk, less stationary of me standing in front of a tree looking like a yahoo, and more me walking through the woods looking like a yahoo. So here's a little cleared area. I'll show you this maple. I just love this maple. So we're going to have this one tapped soon too. Oh, look, they're so big and beautiful, Just unbelievable. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put my little headphones in to say goodbye. And we're just going to finish our walk with, like, the big reveal, All right, there we go. So now
The big reveal. I love this. I don't know if you can see. So, and this is where the best kept secret little zone is. You ready? Whoosh. Look at that. So that is the North Atlantic. To be specific, that's the Medway River that empties out into the North Atlantic over there. Yeah. So we'll take a little walk. Just, I don't know. I just think it's so pretty here. You know, you can see this, like, this was all snow yesterday. It started snowing. When did we do our last tour? We did that, like, it's snowing tour on, I don't remember, Monday maybe? And then yesterday it snowed, and now it started melting. It'll all be gone. It'll all be gone by tomorrow. So, you know, don't fall through the ice. It can. Oh yeah. Well, this is not. This is nice. This is a floodplain. This is a grass, like a marsh grass. So I'm. This is my property, so I'm pretty good at where to walk and stuff. But yeah, it's been a really warm year, disturbingly warm year. I don't love it. So we're actually kind of concerned about what kind of a syrup harvest we're going to get this year because of the weather. Because there's been no snowpack. This is the most snow we've had all year, and then the temperature's going up. Like the temperature goes up to 11 degrees Celsius tomorrow. So we'll see. That's the same in Ontario. Syrup too warm. Yeah, it's brutal, eh? But yeah, it's been a roller coaster for sure. Anyway, I guess we should end this. Um, Thanks so much, everyone, for coming. We'll do more of these soon. I'm going to aim for maybe 2 a week. I kind of like doing it Saturday and Wednesday. There's a beautiful maple to end on. I just think that is stunning right there. Let me put this down and say goodbye. Try not to show my house, but my house is right there. Let's come around a little bit and see if I can't get a little side lit. I can't see a thing. How's that? Is that okay? Okay, so thanks everyone for coming. We're going to do a couple more tours. We'll do, I don't know, I'll try for 2 a week while it's maple season, while it's sap season. We're going to do some more this year. We'll do hopefully some birch syrup, apparently other poplars you can get. Then we're into conifer tips. I'll show you how to collect conifer tips, and we make a conifer tip ice cream that is unbelievable. So we'll get some of that made. We'll get pine cones because we can make this pine cone syrup called Magolio. That it's delicious. You pack fresh, green, young, small pine cones in with brown sugar, and then you let it ferment for 3 months. And if you were to buy it, Magolio, Muglio or something like that, it's like $25 for 100 milliliters, so a very small amount. You can make it for nothing walking around. And then as the seasons change, we'll go to the water. We'll collect mussels. I've got my recreational scallop diving license this year, so I don't know how to get on the water with the camera because my gear is janky. And honestly, these tours don't pay me enough to buy a lot of gear. But if I can figure out how to get on the water with gear, we'll dive for scallops. We'll bring those up. We got all sorts of snails. We'll do Bahamian conch fritters out of delicious ocean snails, which are another mollusk, just like mussels, just like whatever. Don't be weirded out. We're going to do some work in the woods. I'm building trails, as you saw, and we'll do some stuff like that we'll figure out. That's tricky because honestly, it's boring to watch someone do carpentry in the woods if you're not helping or working. A really great tour. Had to miss the first one. Please keep coming, and please, like, follow whatever this platform does. Tell friends about it. I have a little YouTube under Best Kept Secret that has 2 videos right now, and both of them are the old tours. I'm trying to build some sort of whatever, following. I don't really know how this stuff works, but it seems fun, and uh, I'd like to keep going with it and make it viable and worthwhile. Should do a guide interview with me. Sure, I don't know what that is, but I will look for him or put I don't know if you put people in contact. But anyway, um, I'm going to go because I have other work to do. I'm going to throw snowballs at trees and have a lovely day. Sessions where he does interviews. Oh, that's cool. I'd love to do that. Um, Thanks everyone for coming. It's always such a treat when it's full of people. And yeah, I will. I'll definitely. It's Matt in Hong Kong. I'll definitely look into that. Yeah. So I don't know what I'm supposed to say. Like, subscribe, all that. You know this world better than I do. I live alone in a house in the woods rather than that, so I'm not so good at this. But it's pretty great. And thanks for coming. Next time, hopefully, we'll have buckets hanging on all the trees, and we'll show you what a there it is. Follow, review, tip, sponsor are all options. Do any of those. I think I know what 2 or 3 of those mean at least. And you are. Oh, thank you, Sherry. Yeah, we'll see you guys soon. And get out there, see what there is to see. All right. Share postcards as well. Okay. I love you all. Goodbye.